What is something that you feel is true about conversational AI that very few people understand?
So when we started with MC and Parlant, MC is the name of the company, Parlant is the name of our open source project. When we started, which was about 18 months ago, I would say, it seemed like nobody at the time was really getting it. But I'm happy to see these days that like I'm seeing more posts on LinkedIn and places like that where people are starting to talk in that direction. The fact that the problem of getting an AI to do what we want is not a purely algorithmic challenge. And what I mean by that is that if GPT-5 or GPT-10 comes out, it's not going to do any better. It's catering to what you specifically want the AI to do. Just the same way as you're training a new employee, right? The new employee might be very successful in company A doing one thing, but in company B, that would actually not be successful. And so the problem of alignment, as we call it, and this is practical alignment. When I say alignment, I mean things that are important to think about, like kind of AI, like Skynet, AI doomsday scenarios. But what I mean is something more immediate. How can we get AI to do what we want today, or let's say even tomorrow? And so the problem of alignment is not purely algorithmic. It requires people to be able to tighten their expectations or in some form explain their expectations and what is considered acceptable in their use case and for them personally. And because we saw that, we started kind of walking around in the areas of people who have been developing AI agents in the past, not the distant past, but the past 7 years or so, which have been large enterprise companies like United Healthcare, McDonald's, banks. They have deployed NLU-based agents, and they have a lot of experience seeing like the discrepancies between their behavior and what they actually wanted to do. And they've put a lot of work into figuring out how to do that best, which incidentally also led us to knowing about CDI and conversation design as a whole. And so for me, I would say going back to what I started with, so at the time, not many people realized that you're going to need a human in the loop the whole time. And of course, if you have a human in the loop explaining how to automate AI is essentially automated human intelligence. And so the automation is only as good as the person automating for the most part, right? So we realized that not only would you need a human in the loop, but that human is going to have to be skilled in the particular area that they're expected to train the AI.
Can you tell me a little bit about, you mentioned that you compared this with traditional older systems in the space of conversational AI. How does your approach at Parlant really differ from these traditional approaches, even though you've taken some inspiration from them?
How does it differ? There are a few challenges, I think, in traditional conversational AI systems. Some of them are more technical and some of them are organizational, I would say. So the technical ones are, and beyond things that are purely algorithmic, how good is your NLU classifier or something like that? There are bigger challenges, such as how do you create a modern, smooth conversational experience such that it doesn't feel like when you're talking to a bot, it doesn't feel like a part of you has to try to reverse engineer the flow chart that the designer. So the conversation can be much more fluent, obviously. It can do things that traditional systems either completely couldn't do or really struggled with, such as handling multiple inquiries in the same messages, handling multiple messages in a row, handling context switches very, very gracefully and informatively. So these are things that we designed Parlant from the start to kind of be the framework for tomorrow, right? So one of the design goals we had with Parlant is we wanted to be a framework that could last organizations 10 years, right? Instead of kind of saying, okay, well, today LLMs are not super good at this or that or whatever. So we will just fall back to traditional ways in order for companies to be able to deliver something with LLMs this year. Instead, while we are trying to make it possible to deliver this year, we're also trying to think, what is a good conversational experience?